Welcome back to the Daily Lift. We'll hear this phrase a lot these days, which makes sense, but it's often easier said than done. And that's have faith over fear. So, how can we have more faith and be less fearful? What does the Bible have to say? Well, I think one of the things we need to remember is which side we're on. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." I read passages like this and I just wish that I could be as strong as these great men of faith and not be so fearful. It seems like these great men were just unshakable in their faith and their trust in God. How can I have more faith and less fear? And as I'm contemplating this, I remember a story that was written 100 years before this of Elijah, where he stood before the people and he was contemplating a similar sentiment. And Elijah here addresses the people and the 450 prophets of Baal, and he challenges the people to serve God. He says, "How long will you falter between two opinions? If the Lord is God, serve him. But if Baal, follow him." But the people refused to answer him. And so he challenges the prophets of Baal. He says, "Let's build two altars, take two bulls. You call out to Baal and see if he'll come and consume the sacrifice, and I'll do the same." And so the story goes from morning until noon. The prophets of Baal called out, screaming and yelling. They were even cutting themselves, and nothing from Baal, to the point where Elijah was mocking them. "Cry louder. Maybe he's on vacation. Maybe he's sleeping." But then he says, "Now it's my turn. But before we get started, I want you to dig a trench around my altar. And we're going to take 4 pots of water and we're going to fill them up and we're going to pour it all over everything, the wood, the sacrifice, the rocks, until it fills up this trench." He says, after you fill it up once, do it again, and then do it a third time. And then after this, he calls out to the Lord that the people may know that you are God. And fire consumed the sacrifice. It consumed the wood, the water around it, as well as turned the stones to dust. And the people's reaction was, "The Lord, he is God." They seize the prophets of Baal and have them executed. And so at this point, everything seems like it's going great for Elijah. Yet the queen of Judah here, Ahab's wife, Jezebel, she is infuriated because of what Elijah has just done. And she puts a hit out on him. And his life is being sought. And so at this point, Elijah is afraid. He flees into the wilderness, into a cave where he calls upon God. And he asks God, just take my life now, because there's no one else here left. And it's only me here, Lord. And the Lord tells him, "Man up. I have 7,000 that have not bowed their knee to Baal. There are more people than you know on our side." And so oftentimes we can use this story of Elijah as a reminder. Sometimes we'll have everything going for us. Everything. Nothing could be better. We are made stronger than we ever have thought we could be. We have seen great things done by God. We also have done mighty things for the Lord. Yet we only seem to focus on those things that are not going right, the tiny things that are not going right, or those irrational fears that deceive us so badly, as Elijah did here. Actually, what was Jezebel going to do to Elijah? He just had all of her servants, all of those prophets, killed. He has shown his power and he's shown God's power. What could Jezebel do against God and against Elijah? And so remember what happened here. Remember that Elijah's faith was restored. He called for help, he prayed to God, he calmed down, and he took inventory. So we have to remember to do the same, that when we are fearful that the things of the world cannot harm us. Jesus says, "Don't fear those who can kill the body but can't kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both body and soul in hell." And so how do we fear God? Well, we fear him, but not being fearful. We remember whose side we're on and not fear the men and the things of this world. And we fear God by having faith. And what is faith? Hebrews 11 tells us a perfect definition of it. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So faith is not a blind leap in the dark, but it's through thorough, critical examination of the facts, of the evidence, and studying and meditating God's word, we have found him to be reliable and worthy of our trust and our service. And also, if you keep going down to verse 6 in Hebrews 11, he says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So to have faith, we have to believe that God exists. And we have to believe that he keeps his promises and that he will reward those who are faithful to him. So when you're feeling fearful, combat it with prayer, combat it with God's word. Don't be afraid. Establish your faith. And as always, go lift somebody up.